Hey guys, it's Anthony with the Rad Company, and this behind me right here is our new to us 2004 WRX STI. Now I know what you might be thinking. Anthony, this looks like a giant pile of dirty Subaru, and you're not wrong. This thing is absolutely filthy and has seen much better days. But that's the whole point of this, because this is something new to us here at the Rad Company, and that is this Subaru WRX build series. We have never had a project car here at the Rad Company. We've had a lot of features, we've had a lot of Wash Wednesdays, we've had a lot of cars kind of come and go. I mean, God knows how many cars Dane has had come and go, but this is something we want to stick around for a while and something that we really want to build on as a TRC shop car. And before we go any further, we need to tell the story of this little STI.
Thanks, Anthony. So, story time. Let's start off the story by saying there was a car Anthony had found in his usual searches online, and his wife told him he couldn't get it. So naturally, we were curious. I phone up my dad and I say, hey, this Subaru STI for sale on this forum here is actually a really good deal. And I would be curious, what do you think? The Rad Company buys a project car. And to my surprise, my dad actually said, yeah. I'm on the road, got my dad, I got Jimmy, cameraman back here. We head up to Twin Falls, we check it out, and there's this house. Sure enough, the car is parked kind of around the back in the yard underneath a tree, where you find a bajillion leaves all over this thing, which people thought we like got bags of leaves and dumped them on this car. No, truly, there were leaves inside, outside, just all over this thing. We bought it, and I drove it back here to the Rad Company Media Studio, where we promptly parked it outside and let it sit for a while until we could tell you guys about it. So I'm just gonna turn it over to Levi because he can tell you a little bit more about what's gonna be all involved.
So we're working on a 16-year-old car with paint that has been neglected. We may run into spots where it's a little too thin. We've got the start of clear coat failure on like the spoiler. I mean, it looks like someone played a game of slide the box across the hood 3 or 4 times on this car. So we do have a lot to do. Now, there are a ton of door dings on this thing. This is like it's lived its life in a little garage, too tight of a garage, and significant others and children have been banging their doors and bikes and all that stuff down the side of this car, which is probably true. So, on the docket, we do have PDR that we are going to have to do. There's about 100 little door dings all over this car and a few really big ones. We've got one here, we've got one on the other side of the fender, we've got another one on the back quarter panel. Needless to say, we got our work cut out for us. However, there are some spots that we're just probably going to have to just accept that we're going to have to repaint. And our goal with this project is to bring you along and watch us over the next year as we try to bring this car back to better than showroom quality, probably add a couple little custom touches, and this is going to become part of the TRC stable of vehicles. And who knows, maybe when we get done with it, we'll sell it, maybe we'll keep it, we don't know.
So here's the reality of the situation. We have our work cut out for us. Now this engine right here, again, has just a little over 60,000 miles on it. But as you can see, it has probably never been cleaned before in its life. And so this right here is in fact worthy of the disaster engine detail name that so many people like to use here on YouTube. It's not going to just be about detailing the engine. It's obviously going to be a big focus on paint. Levi already talked about that and all the work that's going to be going into this. But here's the other thing. I've already told Jeff I'm going to be going on a shopping spree. I'm going to be buying some things because I really do want to replace some things. I really want to try to make this just an overall better looking, better handling, and better driving car. So we're going to be taking things apart and putting things back together like Lego pieces that may or may not go back together, but that's all the fun of this, right? We're going to have as much fun as possible, kind of walking through everybody step by step of something that looks like this to something that could look like this. I don't know what this is, but it's something, right? So opening up the car here, right? The exterior is rough, but fortunately, out of everything, the interior is not so bad. It's not so bad. It has the blue carpets that are good looking, that will most likely be taken out and deep cleaned. It does have the really cool STI seats with the Alcantara inserts that everybody swaps into their normal WRX. So we're going to be going through, we're going to hopefully try to replace or fix these seats that do have tears in them. And then from there, it's going to be a kind of a combination of replacing plastic pieces, but also removing things to do a deep clean. There's probably so much ingrained dirt in the interior of this vehicle that we're going to be chasing it far beyond what our brushes can reach. So the idea is that we're going to take things out. It's just going to be easier and faster just to remove everything and simply put it back together. With that in mind though, we should be able to get this interior looking as mint as possible, at least as mint as what we can do ourselves. And so that is kind of just a general idea. There is a broken cup holder in it. This shift knob is extremely worn. This steering wheel, also extremely worn. It's actually so worn that it's beyond the perforated leather on there. So we'll have to see if we can find a replacement. So taking a look at the rear though, this is what makes me happy though. One of those cars where the rear seats have really never been touched. Look at these door panels. These door panels, pristine condition. And that is one of my biggest peeves, is when I see extremely worn door panels. And one cool part about the 2004 STI is that you don't have the Alcantara running alongside your little control panel here with all your window switches. This area typically gets worn extremely bad, and that'll go down all the way to past the Alcantara and really pile that up and really make that look ugly, whereas this is just plastic. And in some cases, I'm happy it's just plastic. Now, what's under this spoiler may haunt my dreams for the rest of my life. There could be bugs, there could be body parts, there could be ingrained dirt that is just so deep in there that nothing will actually take it off, maybe except for some tar and glue remover, but that's going to be coming off. So this Hot Boy spoiler, we're taking it off just to get it painted, and then it's going back on the car, right? We're not monsters here. But opening this up here, what in the heck is this? Oh, it's spare parts in a nice sealed bin. So looking beyond all the leaves, right? In the trunk here, we have some oil stains. We're gonna see what we can do about finding a new replacement carpet here for the rear. I think that's gonna be in our best interest because some of those oil stains are beyond the actual carpet itself, right? And that's into the cardboard at that point. But the last thing I want to talk about is, yes, we're going to be replacing a lot of things. We're going to be refreshing a lot of things. But I think most people think it's going to be bigger parts. It's going to be a lot of the small stuff as well. We're going to try to replace any seals where we feel necessary. We're going to try to replace any type of bump stops or plastic clips or things like that. And we are going to try to go with everything as OEM as we possibly can. The only thing that we're not going OEM with is actually going to be the suspension here. Now, why would we replace the suspension? It's because these rear struts are completely blown out. Now, we want to be able to lift up the overall appearance of this vehicle. And by lift up, I don't mean literally lift up, but I mean just to raise the standard of what is acceptable for these cars and show people that you can take an older Subaru like this, a 16-year-old Subaru, and transform it into something that is worthy of sitting in a car booth. And speaking of lifts, I think what better way to see what's under the car and taking a look at the suspension components than getting it on the lift to see what's on the underside.
Hey guys, Anthony, Levi, and Dane gave me the job of telling you why this was a good purchase because one, it wasn't leaking. This thing has no leaks, no trans leaks, no diff leaks. Everything seems right in order. There's no frame damage on the car. And while there wasn't any actual fluid leaks on the car, there were some air leaks. The tires are all dry rotting, expanding, whatever you want to call it. We've got the original set of BBSs and we're gonna hopefully get rid of these rotas pretty soon because we don't like them. But as we look through the bottom of the car, there are no points of contact, which is really good. The owner didn't lower it, he just replaced it with stock suspension. You can see there's no scraping anywhere along this. All of it is super straight. The whole frame itself is super straight. When you go into modifying or restoring a car, you want to make sure that the actual structural integrity of the car is good because you're just gonna be chasing your tail the whole time trying to fix something that you could have just saved up a little bit more and just bought a better version of the car that wasn't clapped from the beginning, right? One thing right off the bat, if you're familiar with Subarus, you'll notice there is no tray here to cover the engine from all the grime and dirt. So that is one of the major things right off the bat that we'll have to get. As we move down the car, stock exhaust. Normally don't see that. It's normally a Tomei or an HKS. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just very rare to see something in this good a condition, you know, not beat into the ground and not leaking everywhere. What the plan is we're gonna replace the suspension, whether we go with a strut and a spring or a coilover, we're going to have to get in alignment. So there's no point in doing it right off the bat. You should always keep that in mind if you're planning on modding a car and doing any sort of suspension work. Also, like I said, keeping water out is a big thing when keeping a car nice and fresh and not corroded. We've got to get that underbelly and this passenger side wheel well fender liner. Those are all things that need to be done in order to keep this underbelly clean. I'm really excited for the build. I hope you guys are as well. This is gonna be something that I actually get to do a little bit hands-on with. So stick around, we're gonna be washing it very soon.
All right, guys, so as usual, if you guys like the idea of this series, make sure you give us a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below for more so you don't miss any of the future WRX STI content. Leave a comment, let us know what you would like to see done on this car, and stay tuned for more videos right here at The Rad Company.